Guitarists everywhere are stuck using the same old first form of the pentatonic scale. You know the one. If you're a rock or metal guitarist, it's probably one of the first scales you ever learned. It is known and loved by guitarists everywhere, and that's for good reason. This scale is described as having a lyrical quality, and it's easy to use because it has a lot of safe notes to land on when you're in a pinch for making off-the-cuff melodies. It's also called Box 1 of the minor pentatonic scale, which is probably a more fitting name because it makes players feel like they're stuck in a box after abusing it to death. Sadly, that's what experience often tells guitarists when they see no other tools in their toolboxes. The good news is that there are tons of different ways to play the pentatonic scale. In fact, there are 5 whole different shapes that bring the pentatonic scale to new territories. In this lesson, I'm going to show you one of my favorite pentatonic scale shapes that has opened up a ton of musical doors for me. By the end of this lesson, I hope this becomes your new favorite scale shape. In the meantime, I've got something that goes along with this lesson that I'm giving away to guitarists who are serious about leveling up their skills. It's my Guitar Games cheat sheet, and it's a completely free tool that gives you my best scientifically based tips on how to make consistent progress on the guitar. It's got some hacks in there that'll show you how to eliminate poor practice habits, like practicing in waves, and how to replace them with better habits for success. It even includes a customizable goal setting template to help you figure out your next guitar goal and absolutely crush it. So just click the link in the description or go to zachsharguitar.com and download this awesome free resource. So now grab your axe, take a seat, and let's get ready to shred. So we're going to cut right to the chase on this because a lot of guitarists I find are really relying heavily on the first form of the pentatonic scale. And that's fine, there's nothing wrong with it, but I feel like they may be selling themselves short because there's this whole other form that really gives that popular first form a run for its money. And this form that I'm talking about today is what I call Form 4. So I'm going to show you how to play that right now. So we're going to stick around the 5th position here. We're going to be hovering around the fret 5 area. So starting on the low E string, we're going to hit fret 5 and 8. Then we're going to play the same thing on the A string. So hit frets 5 and 8 there. Then we're going to hit frets 5 and 7 on the D string. Same thing on the G string. We're going to hit frets 5 and 7. Now on the B string, we're going to hit frets 6 and 8. And then on the high E string, we're going to hit frets 5 and 8. So from the top, we're going to ascend through this slowly. And then we're going to descend, okay? So it's just the same thing in reverse. We're going to hit frets 8 and 5 on the high E string. Frets 8 and 6 on the B string. Frets 7 and 5 on the G string. Then frets 7 and 5 on the D string. Now we're going to wrap it up by hitting frets 8 and 5 on the A string. And again, frets 8 and 5 on the low E string. So altogether, ascending and descending, here's what Form 4 of the pentatonic scale sounds like. So let's enrich our experience of this even more by deepening our knowledge and understanding of Form 4 by seeing how it compares to Form 1, because there's a ton of overlap. And this is because both forms are technically just different starting points of the same scale. So we automatically see a similarity between the two forms when we start with Form 1, because we're hitting frets 5 and 8 of the low E string, just like with Form 4. And then it gets a little different because we hit frets 5 and 7 of the A, D, and G strings. Then here's another difference. We're going to hit frets 5 and 8 on the B string. And then, just like with Form 4, we've got frets 5 and 8 of the high E string. But we can look at this in other different ways to help us understand it. Because when we're playing Form 4, like I showed you, we see that Form 1 exists somewhere in there. And in fact, if you go to the A string and you start Form 4, but you omit the first two notes, so we're going to skip over those first two notes on the low E string, start on fret 5 of the A string, you see that it's the same thing. It's Form 1 within Form 4, if you just go through that. And of course, because of the tuning of the B string, we have to make a slight adjustment there by playing one fret higher on that. So we hit frets 6 and 8 there. But then, you know, it continues as expected on the high E string. So seeing the connection between these forms will help you a lot if you haven't seen it before, because Form 4 can kind of be seen as a 5-string version of Form 1 of the pentatonic scale. And this can be especially valuable to you if you like to play in drop tunings like drop D. But it may change your perspective and your approach to soloing if you just sort of forget about playing the 6-string version of Form 1 and play the 5-string version of Form 1 of the pentatonic scale, aka Form 4, just starting on the A string. So if we want to go to A, we can just jump up to the 12th fret of the A string, have that be our starting point, and go from there. When we're playing the pentatonic scales, we're relying on one category of scales. That category, of course, is in the name. Pentatonic scales. Penta, meaning we rely on 5 notes per octave, hence that penta prefix. But this is completely fine to do, to just rely on a certain category of scales. In fact, I think oftentimes limiting ourselves allows us to be our most creative selves. And many world-class shredders are often pretty strict to using pentatonic scales. But it's always enriching to see how to take things further and identify ways that scales and other music theory concepts connect and overlap with each other. In this case, we can highlight similarities between Form 4 of the pentatonic scale and a couple of diatonic modes that complement that scale best. By doing so, we would be able to flow in and out of the rock and roll flavors of the pentatonic scale and the melodic sounds of the modes. The modes can be most simply understood as different starting points of the major scale, aka the Ionian mode, and in a way the forms of the pentatonic scale are similar since they're all different starting points of the same scale shape. So first up, we've got the Aeolian mode, or more simply put, the minor scale. And this particular scale pairs very nicely with the 4th form of the pentatonic scale because it has all the same notes, just with some extra notes in between. So here's what that scale looks like real quick. We're just gonna rip through one octave. That's 5, 7, and 8 on the low E string, 5, 7, and 8 on the A string, and 5 and 7 on the D string. You may already be starting to see the connection for yourself already, because both scales have, of course, the root. We're starting on A. They also have that minor third interval, 8th fret of the low E string, that C note. They also have that perfect 4th interval, the D note, on fret 5 of the A string. And this special note right here, the minor 6th interval on fret 8 of the A string, note F. And then lastly, of course, there's that minor 7th interval. That would be G on fret 5 of the D string. And once you're familiar with both scales, you could just have some fun kind of flowing in and out of each scale and blending them together as best you can. Lastly, we've got a weird one, the Locrian mode. And just like with the Aeolian mode, this scale also aligns perfectly well with form 4 of the pentatonic scale. Again, because it has the root, the minor 3rd, the perfect 4th, the minor 6th, and the minor 7th intervals. So real quick, here is the Locrian mode. So that's frets 5, 6, and 8 on the low E string. Same thing, frets 5, 6, and 8 on the A string. And then frets 5 and 7 on the D string to complete the octave. So this mode can be a really fun one for you to try and blend with the 4th form of the pentatonic scale, especially because it has this flat 5 interval on fret 6 of the A string in this case. And that can often lead to a more bluesy combination when you combine both these scales, form 4 of the pentatonic scale and, of course, the Locrian mode. Keep in mind that ultimately there are no actual rules in music, so you can freely do whatever you want. I'm just telling you what works out best in terms of how complementary each scale is in its natural form. I don't know about you, but I think it would be really cool to hear more of form 4 of the pentatonic scale. Perhaps if you start relying more heavily on the form 4 shape, it'll help you stand out more among the sea of other shredders out there. Both form 1 and form 4 have a lot of similarities, and that is to be expected since both shapes are pretty much just different starting positions of the same scale. And the same concept applies to the diatonic modes because, again, the modes can simply be seen as just different starting positions of the same scale. As you saw for yourself, there is a lot of carryover between the pentatonic form shapes and the diatonic modes. So try exploring with the scales you know and the new scales you pick up to see if you can find other connections between them. And if you're interested in doing that, you're definitely a more serious guitar student. And if that's you and you want to take your skills to the next level, don't forget to grab my free Guitar Gains cheat sheet if you have not done so already. It gives you my best tips on how to make consistent progress, conquer any guitar goal, and eliminate poor practice habits like practicing in waves. Now is the time if you're looking to level up your skills, so just click the link in the description or go to ZachSharGuitar.com and download this awesome free resource. I'm Zach with Zach Shar Guitar. Thanks so much for watching, and God bless.